Zelensky tells Piers Morgan he's ready to negotiate directly with Putin in major reversal. This is huge news that's happening right now. We're finally sounds like we're getting close to an end of this World War III that we're so close, that the nuclear war that we're so close to having. Now that Trump is in office, Zelensky is actually talking about peace deals now, which is a wonderful thing. So we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna play some clips. But before we get started, go ahead and hit that like button. Share this out so we can get this information out there. Subscribe if you're not already a subscriber, and hit that alarm bell so you know when I'm putting out new stuff. Also, check out my link tree in the description. Has a link to my Patreon. That's where I talk about things that I can't talk about here. There's also a link to my Instagram and my X account, so follow me there as well. All right, so let's get into this news. Now, this comes from Zero Hedge, and they report that Ukrainian leader Vladimir Zelensky has told British journalist Piers Morgan that he would agree to direct talks with Russia's Vladimir Putin to end the country's nearly 3-year-long war. And people don't understand how close we really were to nuclear war. Like, the Kremlin talked about how they were really considering nuking us under Joe Biden. Like, we have no idea how close it was. But Morgan asked him how he would feel if he sat opposite Putin and at the negotiating table, to which Zelensky responded, quote, "If that is the only setup in which we can bring peace to the citizens of Ukraine and not lose people, definitely we will go for this setup," but noted that other participants would need to be present. So while it was somewhat an imagined or theoretical scenario, it was the first time Zelensky has ever responded with a positive answer or expressed a willingness to such a proposition. Zelensky has never so much as theoretically acknowledged he's ready to sit at the negotiating table when asked in prior meeting interviews. Still, this marks an apparent shift, giving that throughout the war, Zelensky has repeatedly ruled out direct negotiations with Moscow so long as Putin is still in power. He even enshrined it in Ukraine law. But recently, Zelensky suggested that this ban applies to all Ukrainian officials except himself in the wake of the 2020 decree declaring it impossible to engage the Kremlin so long as Putin still holds the Russian presidency. Putin last week highlighted this prior legislation of Kiev in saying, quote, "It's possible to negotiate with anyone. However, due to his illegitimacy," talking about Zelensky here, because they never had elections. They were supposed to have elections last year. Zelensky suspended the elections, so really he's technically not even the president of Ukraine, but has no right to sign anything. If he wishes to participate in talks, I will deploy people who will conduct such negotiations. Zelensky, in the newly published interview with Piers Morgan, added the following caveat: "I will not be kind to him. I consider him an enemy." But let's just get to the clip here. Here we go.
If we move forward to potentially this peace summit with the 4 groups, as you say, how are you going to feel sitting opposite Vladimir Putin at a negotiating table? Do you think you can do that, given how you feel about him?
If that is the only setup in which we can bring peace to the citizens of Ukraine and not lose people, definitely we will go for this setup for the meeting with these 4 participants. What does it matter what is my attitude to him? I will not be kind to him, and I believe that I consider him an enemy. And to be honest, I believe he considers me an enemy as well. That's it.
But in the same interview, Zelensky also urged the West to give Ukraine nuclear weapons to defend itself. So why do you need nuclear weapons if you talk about coming to the table and putting it into this war? That doesn't make any sense to me. So if he's asking for nukes, it's almost in almost the same breath, direct Moscow negotiations still seem far away in the Ukrainian leader's mind. Indeed, I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't know how long he can continue to sustain these losses. I mean, he's lost so many people behind this war. But Zelensky said, "Give us back nuclear arms." Zelensky said while discussing scenarios on how the Ukraine war could end. Zelensky also reiterated his longtime stance that Ukraine must be admitted to NATO and have firm security guarantees to prevent any future Russian invasion in a post-war system. So let's play this clip here.
President, let me be clear. I do not personally believe that is the reason he invaded Ukraine. I think he just wanted to get his hands on Ukraine, and he didn't care how many people he killed to do it. But there is, as you know, what he tells his people is that he's doing this for the protection of the national security of Russia, that he couldn't have Ukraine joining NATO because that would present an existential threat to the security of the Russian people. I don't agree with that, and that's what he tells his people. And so I'm moving forward to when you're all sitting around a table and you're trying to negotiate your way to an end of the hot stage of the war. I just don't see any way he allows you, as part of that settlement, to become a full member of NATO. And that's why it's interesting to me that you're now outlining a potential plan B, if you like, which involves enough guarantees of security, particularly with the military, that you're able to deter him from attacking again. And I think is that a correct understanding of your position?
If NATO is not today, but in some time in the future, then all this process when we go to NATO, all this time when we are waiting, no matter how long it takes, and unfortunately does not depend on us. If this process is protracted for years or decades, not because of us, but because of partners, then we have absolutely just question what will be defending us against this evil for this whole time on this whole path. Which support package, which missiles, will we be given nuclear weapons? Then let them give us nuclear weapons. Will they give us the missiles in the quantities that we can stop Russia? And I'm not sure of that, but I think it would help. Otherwise, what missiles can stop Russia's nuclear missiles? That is a rhetoric question. So let's do it the following way. Give us back nuclear arms, give us missile systems, partners, help us finance the 1 million army, move your contingent on the parts of our state where we want the stability of the situation so that the people have tranquility. If we're speaking about this, okay, but here the question arises that I mentioned to you. If we are not in NATO, why is he on our soil? If we're not in NATO, and America says that we are not ready to take Ukraine to NATO, then Putin must fully retreat from our territory. That is logical. Then we will speak about everything else. Financial compensation for all the losses we've suffered. Because there must be logic. He invaded because he was afraid we'll become NATO members. Okay, we're not NATO members. Go back of our land. It must be viewed like that. Because what else?
That's wild. I can't believe he actually asked for nukes. But given all of this bluster, Putin is unlikely to see this as a serious overture, even as the new Trump administration is applying pressure to get each side to the negotiating table as fast as possible. Last week, Putin had explained as part of the aforementioned remarks, quote, if we start negotiations now, they will be illegitimate because when the current head of the regime, that's the only way to call Zelensky today, signed this decree, he was a somewhat legitimate president, but now he can't cancel it because he is illegitimate. That's the trick. The catch, the trap. So he's basically saying, really, if we come to the table, none of it is going to matter because Zelensky is illegitimate anyway. Crazy. Wow. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this. Do you think this war is going to be ending anytime soon? Leave your comments down below. Like, share, and subscribe. And check out jjthepsychotherapist.com for the latest in news. Until next time, peace.